Everybody, it's EK from EK Gorman Designs, and I thought I'd come in today and do something a little different. I thought I'd come in today and share how I made a card for Cupcake Inspiration Challenge, the color challenge. And this week our sponsor is the Day for Daisies, and I'm using this Dear Me stamp. I have been a part of the Cupcake Inspiration Challenge for, I want to say, almost 2 years now. It was the first challenge group I ever became a part of, and I don't think I've ever made a video for them. So I thought for fun I'd do this video today with colored pencil coloring. Like I said, it's a color challenge this week. It's the second week of the challenge, so there's 1 week left to get your submissions in. There is a prize of some digital stamps from A Day for Daisies, and the color challenge is brown and green. It's actually kind of a difficult color combination for traditional stamping, because how often do you stamp something? I don't know. It was like a fun, different challenge today. Because I was using this gorgeous digital stamp from A Day from Daisies, I knew I wanted to keep everything looking really, really earthy and natural and realistic, and not get kind of bold and bright with my browns, but keep them muted and saturated, actually, for lack of a better word. So I pulled up my Derwent drawing pencils. These are my favorite colored pencils. They're very, very limited in the scope of color they are. They are great for a saturated, or saturated is not the right word. They're really great for a landscape. They're great for when colors are kind of muddied and dulled. But they flow like butter. They're just the most... I love coloring with them. Any chance I get to pull them out and use them, I do. And this red, it might be my favorite thing in here because it's a very bold, muted, burgundy-ish red, and you throw a little bit of white, Chinese white over it, and it becomes this gorgeous pale pink. So I finished the body of the deer and wanted to go in and put in a really, really strong, bold antler. So I actually used the darkest color I used in my shading for the body to do my underpinning for the antlers. And then this is actually only 2 colors to make the antlers strong. I just took a really dark brown, added some highlights and shadings on just one side of each antler, and then blended again with that sepia red. Cupcake Inspiration Challenge has been, like I said, for so long, such a part of my life, and I don't know why I've never shared here in video form how much I've enjoyed being a part of this team for so many years. If you don't know it, it's a bi-weekly challenge group. Each challenge lasts not quite 2 weeks. It goes from a Monday to a Friday, but in a 2-week format. Every other week is either a color challenge or a theme challenge. So it's always kind of fun changing up. Most weeks there is a prize that potentially could be won from one of our sponsors. And it's a fun group of really diverse crafters who are on the design team. For this card, I really wanted my fawn, or my deer, or my buck, I don't know what he's called, to have a velvety, velvety fur. So I pulled out my Gamsol and my blending stump and really tried to melt down the colored pencil so he looked smooth and, again, velvety, because I wanted him to look real. So often as crafters we get these cutesy, cartoony critters, and that's great and that's fine, except we don't tend to color them in a realistic manner. For the grass, I came in with, these are the only 3 greens in the, actually that's a lie, there's a 4th green, it's a green shade, so it's a very gray green. But these are the 3 truer greens in the set. And again, you can see they're not very bold, they're not very bright, but they go with the colors. The whole set goes together. It's a beautifully crafted set of colors. I wanted a slight shadow within this grass, but not a blatant, obvious, like, Hello, shadow. And you'll see I come back in later and finish the grass off. I wasn't quite certain at this point where I was taking the card, if I was going to do a full colored background, or if I was going to trim it down and layer papers. Yeah, I don't often have a plan when I start coloring. I just start coloring and I let the coloring lead me. For the birds, I wanted them to definitely be lighter than the deer, but they still needed to be brown to fall into my color challenge, because I really try to stick strictly to, when I do a color challenge, I try not to add any additional colors. Now, the great thing about Cupcake Inspiration is that their colors are very, like, green, so it's that whole spectrum of green. It's not just green. I trimmed down the card. At this point, I decided to layer paper to add more of the color challenge colors in paper form. So I added more grass across the now trimmed down cardstock, and extended it with my little flicking motions to give it that movement and feel of grass. And again, you'll notice I didn't take it all the way to the bottom. I didn't extend it all the way from end to end. It's just kind of an illusion that grass exists within the card. So here are the pieces of paper I chose to use. I decided to go with some craft paper because it matched. It was kind of that color in between what I used for the deer and what I used for the birds, and I knew it would help pull out all the browns I used to color. And I went ahead and used a full piece because I knew how I was going to layer it and I didn't want to deal with tiny strips today. And then I pulled this piece of really old, yes, I have a lot of really old paper. I don't know where it comes from. But this is cardstock, it's green, it's got a slight pattern, it's very distressed, it's a very nice piece. It goes with the whole concept. I wish I could tell you where it's from. I can't. And finally, I added the deer, leaving just a hint of craft strip paper on the other end. Finally, I knew I needed a sentiment for this card, but it was kind of actually hard to find one. And even when I found this one from Ellen Hunson that I thought, okay, would make a really good, I think, sentiment, you'll notice I pull out beautiful and tried to make it fit into the white space, and it would have, just barely. I knew the phrase I wanted was "you are beautiful," and it was too big. So I realized the word grace was in there, and this, I want to say he's a buck because he has antlers. But anyway, this deer is just gorgeous. And so "you are grace" seemed to be a very appropriate sentiment. I added some dark brown chocolate, I think it's espresso memento ink, just to keep in that color palette. And that's it. That's my color card for today. Make sure you go over and check out Cupcake Inspiration Challenge. It's a fun challenge. It's been around for a long, long time. Thanks for watching today. Appreciate you stopping by.